Hey Daja, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to give some insight. My name is actually Daya, not Daja.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
That's
okay.
that's a nice insight for sure before we jump into the main topic.
Yeah, it's just something that a lot of people. My name is a little special. It's actually in German. I always say it's yes in Russian and yes in German, and then
Oh,
they people get it. Yeah,
so so it's not only that you have a special name, but we're also talking about a very special topic
yeah.
today. And before we jump into that, I want to know what's your opinion? Is it harder to compete in a pro tour or is it harder to compete in an Ironman?
Actually, I think it's harder to compete in a pro tour. Uh, in regards of Flesh and Blood, I think probably it's easier than in Magic because there's a smaller player base. But um, I, I mean, I think it depends on the person too, you know, because if you don't like sports, probably it's harder to compete in an Ironman. But if you like sports, you can just prepare for it. And the preparation to do an Ironman probably is shorter than to actually get to a pro tour. Yeah, I mean, there's a completely different skill set that you need and the ceiling is way higher. I mean, we're just talking about just finishing an Ironman,
Yeah,
obviously. Yeah,
yeah,
like,
that's right.
yeah, it's actually
Yeah,
what I think about it.
interesting. So we will talk about the similarities and differences about competing in sports and TCGs later on in the podcast.
Yeah.
But before we jump into our main topic, I actually want to welcome all the viewers here to the Fabled Academy podcast. This is actually the 13th episode here, and as you all know, I'm your host Alex. But today I have a special guest. Daya, thank you so much for taking the time because you are not only playing Flesh and Blood, but you are also a personal trainer.
Yes, exactly. That's what I do as a job, and yeah, I enjoy both a lot. I chose this because I really like what I do, and I really like to help people get just in general to a healthier lifestyle or achieve their goals. Yes.
So how do you really like bring both worlds for you together, like being a personal trainer and playing TCGs?
Actually, the good thing about this is that uh, they kind of complement each other because on the one side, I just have to use my body more. So I need to be active, and I always crave I need to have something that fills my brain. So since I'm doing a job that can be sometimes a little redundant and maybe a little less challenging mental wise, it's I just need this yin and yang, kind of. So these two things kind of fulfill me and make me happy. And yeah, it's just card games was all like I've started playing Magic when I was 6, and I remember I read through the English rule when I was 7, and I didn't understand anything, but I just wanted more Magic, and yeah, that's just yeah. What?
So
Yeah.
in your childhood, Magic was the big thing for you, not playing Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
No, I never played Yu-Gi-Oh. Actually, played a little bit of Pokemon. I still have first edition unlimited cards lying around. Yeah, Magic was the big thing. And I got into tournaments when I was 12, and back then there wasn't that, there were tournaments, but like pre-releases. I just played my pre-releases. I was always happy to see a new set, and we had a pretty cool community in Magic that was welcoming people. So I think the community makes a lot. And in regards of Flesh and Blood, is like the community is even better than Magic, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, we will talk about Flesh and Blood also during the podcast. But for a little bit more context to all the viewers, like where are you from and how old are you?
Yeah, I'm 36. I'll be 37 this year. I grew up in Zurich in Switzerland. Um, so from like to understand why I'm a personal trainer, I started doing sports very young. I was like 10 when I actually was competing and started competing in for sprint, and I qualified for when I was 13. I qualified for the Youth Olympics in Italy by being the fastest Italian, because I'm half Italian, half German. Grew up in Switzerland. Um, in Switzerland, so I qualified, and sadly, um, during this 2 year preparation time for that, I broke my ankle, like with the skateboard. And that was actually the time where, like, after that, I never really recovered from that. That was like in a very bad moment, because, like, when you're so young, it's actually when you lose these years, and like it's more recovery than like progress. Yeah, that just made like had a really big impact on this my career as in sports. And yeah, that's one of the reasons why I got into gaming more too, because like I had a lot of spare time that I didn't have before, because I was training 10 hours a week, like 2 hours every day. Not every week, but at least 6 hours I was doing. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then I had a period of time when I was at university in Italy, where I played a lot of Magic. Like I was playing every weekend, going to every tournament, went to a lot of GPs, was doing fairly good. And when I came back to Switzerland, I was studying some informatics, like interaction design. And when I came back, my grandpa died, and before he died, he told me, be careful what kind of job you choose. If you choose something that is like where you just are in front of the computer the whole day, or, well, maybe think about doing something active. Yeah, that stuck to me, and I pursued this other career, made some, yeah, went for some more studies, and yeah, that's what got me to the point I am right now. Yeah, exactly.
We both actually met not so long ago at the
Yes.
world premiere for The Hunted in Prague.
Yeah.
And I remember as we sat next to each other, I think it was the Battle Hard, right? On the last day of the tournament.
Yes, exactly.
And I was looking at your watch, right? You had that Garmin watch,
Yeah.
and I was asking you just like, okay, what's the story behind the watch? And so things started rolling.
Yes.
And I think it's just very interesting that you now tap into like your past, how it really began, and that you early on discovered that passion not only for TCGs, but you had the drive to compete in sports as well,
Yep.
and that kind of came back to you in your life. So for how long have you been a personal trainer now? Because I remember you told me as well in Prague.
Yeah, I've been working in the as a fitness trainer for 8 years. I was like I got into like I started training a lot like the last couple of years I was in Italy. And then because I had this pause, like when I was in university, like it was more like partying, magic, stuff like that. And then I kind of got into a little depression, and I was like, I didn't really figure out why it was. And then I was like, maybe I should train again. Because I saw a picture of me, and I was like, that I never looked like that. So then my friend said, like, look at your forearms, they're bigger than your biceps. And then and that started like, okay, it looks like that. And then I started training again, and then I felt better again. That was like why I yeah, why I started training. And from there, I was very interested in fitness, and one of my friends made an app where you could like for for fitness centers, because there's like these big chains that have 30 gyms, and you can go to every gym. And we had this app where you could these gyms could join us, and we had the app, and we made like an own chain of gyms that where you could just if you were in another city, you could just join one of these gyms. Like that that went pretty well, but there were some internal issues. And after that, I was so much into it that I thought about it, and I was like, if I want to do something active and something with sports, I need to do it now. If I want to do something with informatics or something like that, I can still do it later. So it's not something that that will go away. But like me being fit, I mean, you get older and it's like it gets harder. So um, yeah, that's actually why I went into this. And like 4 years ago, something like that, I started giving personal training. And then it just, well, I got more and more clients. My clients had success. They talked to other clients. Like it's more like I didn't have a big, I don't have a big internet presence. It's more like uh, recommendations. Yeah, that that got me where I am right now. And yeah, I'm just following these clients, helping them in different areas. Yeah, that's very specialized on health, like on getting back their health or you're losing weight. But I have some clients that are more interested in um, like this performance, like better performance, which I
Mhm.
come from like when from my younger years. Yeah.
Yeah. Then on the other side, there is the TCG life that you have nowadays, and the connection we also had was Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
And you told me actually you played in a fairly big tournament here in Europe
Yeah.
not so long ago. It was a battle in Geneva, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you
Right.
can talk us through that.
Yeah. Well, I went to Geneva. This is actually a pretty interesting story. I've started playing Flesh and Blood because I had a long break from Magic because I just didn't like the variance of the game, and I didn't like the community anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good community in Italy. I didn't like the community so much here in Switzerland. And I went to Spiel Essen with a friend of mine, and he said, "Go, like you should check out Flesh and Blood." And it's like he has a shop, and he was always doing the Magic tournaments back when I was 12 already, and I went always to his tournaments. And we were at Spiel together, and then I tried Flesh and Blood, and I got into it. Then I don't know, 1 month later, I went to a ProQuest. I went 3 and 2 and 10th, and then a new deck and like a new hero came out, Jarl. I was like, this is a chance for me to learn a new hero, and it's better for me to learn a new hero and then surprise the opponents with it because they don't know the hero. So that was my little advantage being new at the game. So I like the play style. I like to figure out how this deck works. I had like a new take on it. Like so I had like I took that as an advantage for me. And then I went to Geneva, and everybody said Jarl was bad. And yeah, I surprised everybody with going 5-1, and I lost my last game, like in the Swiss, but it was still enough to get into top 8. And here comes a very interesting part of that. I struggled a lot during that tournament because it was a long tournament, and I wasn't used to. Like I was used to do these long tournaments, and I could go through a very long tournament with very little um, like food or drinking or anything. And at that tournament, like the thing was like the air was very thick, like they didn't open the windows or anything, and I started cramping in my hand. And I had like from round 3 to round like till the top 8 where I felt better again because there was less people. I had a little time to recover, etc. I had this cramps in my hand, and I never have cramps, never, nowhere. I didn't sleep that well, but I still had everything with me. I had some nuts with me. I had some meat with me. I had a sandwich. I drank. I took magnesium afterwards, and that helped me then again to get better. But I didn't feel like I didn't notice how taxing it was on me. So basically, the last game I would have won, like if I would have played a, a little bit better. But I played so bad. I was like making mistakes all like one after another. Like against Simon, I played well again in the top 8, but it wasn't enough. Like he drew better than me. I didn't have that good of a draw, and yeah, he actually was like, for not knowing Jarl, he played really well against me. And yeah, he's just a very good player, and yeah, I couldn't catch him off guard. But uh, that was a very nice experience because I showed everybody that Jarl actually can win, and we saw that he can win because he's winning. He won a Battle Hardened now in Barcelona. He made another top 8, so it's not a bad deck, especially in the new meta. What's interesting about this story is like I prepared for this, and I know that like since I have more muscle than I had before, it took a lot of energy from me, like this whole tournament. I looked up how much chess player, um, like how many calories a chess player consumes during a 9 hour tournament, and they consume up to 5,000 calories in one tournament.
What?
And that's insane. Like uh, that's like insane. So like if you're thinking all day and you need so much energy, and I mean everybody I talked to like in this tournament, etc., everybody said like in the last rounds you just don't play your best anymore because it's just you need to have this tournament, like you need to have this length of the tournament, but this, like having good decision making in the end makes such a big difference if you want to have the cut into day 2 or even top 8. And I think yeah, like in Geneva they're like not having enough air for me. Like I literally didn't have enough air to think straight. Wasn't really a good thing, like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, and I think yeah, that's a topic that is very important for players, and I think a lot of players that are on the top level know this and are prepared for this, but the average card game player doesn't really prepare for that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we want to touch on those things that also the average player can do to enhance their performance, but also make some gold nuggets here for the pro players that are looking to get an edge with their performance. But before we come to that, like what are you seeing like are the biggest like challenges before we come to what people can change, maybe even in the TCG sphere? Like what are the challenges that you see people are coming over
You mean in regards to in
to
regard
their health? Like when you're
health?
looking at for example at Prague, and maybe even compare like players that you met with clients that you have, are they having like similar like challenges, or is it like that these TCG players that you are meeting having like individual paths as well?
I think in general the problem is that we have very sedentary jobs, most of us. And if you then have a hobby where you just sit all day too, like Flesh and Blood, like you're sitting so much, like, and there was like this company was called 10K. That's why the 10K per steps per day came out. This comes from Japan. It's actually 7.5K, not 10K, that you need per day to have like the bare minimum cardiovascular adaptations, so that you don't run too big risks of a heart attack or anything like that. So most people, a lot of people, even my clients, sometimes they have like 500 to 2,000 steps, and you can imagine your body is like a machine. And if you just, I sometimes compare it to a diesel. Like when you leave your diesel and you don't use it, it just breaks. And the same thing is with your body. You accumulate stuff in your body. Like if you don't, it's like a bin. You put stuff in the bin, and if you don't put out the trash is going to overflow. It's the same thing with your body. So it's very important to know what are you putting into your body to make it work properly, and how are you actually using this energy, or are you using this energy or not. There's a study they made where they said that a normal person, average person, can only eat 450 calories of carbs per day, which is very little. If they go over that and they don't do sports, they don't have muscle, the risk of diabetes and um, other problems is way higher. Yeah. I'm trying to to explain these things on a basic level so that
Yeah.
everybody can understand, not going
Yeah.
too deep into it. Um,
Yeah.
exactly. So that's the one thing. The other thing is our food lacks a lot of nutrients we had um 50 years ago, because like everything like they wash everything X times, everything is clean, everything, like they cross everything with to make the perfect apple. The soil is getting like ripped off all the nutrients, like, so we lack a lot of things that they had in the past. Another thing is that we don't have enough sun because we are always inside and we sit a lot. So there's a lot of things you can do like to improve this. So taking your vitamins, especially vitamin D plus K2, and that should be in an oily solution, because otherwise you can't actually absorb it. So these are, and then there is these special things that you need to know. If you don't do that, it might even hurt you. Like just taking a high dose of vitamin D without having, without without knowing how to help your body to absorb it, can be very dangerous for you. Then there is electrolytes you need. Everybody always says, yeah, you have to drink water. Water doesn't have electrolytes. It's just water. It's like you go to a tournament, you drink water. The only thing that it really does to you is it hydrates you a little bit, but you just need to go to the toilet. Like, if you have electrolytes, the body actually is capable of absorbing that water into the cells, and the electrolytes help for brain function too. So if you lack these things, your performance goes down a lot. And the same things apply for your everyday life. So you kind of need to like you kind of need this supplementation to actually get to a point where your body actually works how it should work. It's like with a car, you need gasoline, you need oil, you need water, you need this different liquids to actually make so in order to have a proper functioning car, the body is the same. Yeah.
So not only are there like a lot of problems that players can run through, not only in their like TCG life, but also in the regular life as well,
Yeah.
that you already touched on. But what are really the special challenges that also you already touched a little bit on when traveling for the events,
Yeah.
because not only is it a challenge to play multiple of hours, maybe even multiple of days, but also then having the pack on you, traveling, maybe even flying a lot. What kind of challenges are those for you that you see?
The thing is, like when you're not in your normal environment, you don't have the tools that you normally have. It's always about tools, like, and you just need to know what else you can do just to fix these problems. So basically, the challenge becomes like you need you need to eat properly in the morning and in the evening, and then you need to kind of fill the gap. So what does that mean? Like there's so many people, they don't eat in the morning, they don't eat breakfast. But if you don't eat breakfast and then go to a tournament where you don't really have a break, maybe you play a deck like mine that is like actually taking up the whole 55 minutes to play it, or at least 50, then you don't have the breaks to actually eat, drink, etc. And that will have a really big impact for your performance. So you just need to be prepared and have the tools in the situations. So what can you do? You can either go and grab something before the tournament. Sometimes you can grab something at the venue itself, but normally the time is not enough. So you need to find solutions for during the day, to like the day prior or in the morning, or that that fix this, and you need to be prepared for that. Otherwise, you run into these problems. And I think people underestimate how much of an impact this has on your performance and on your mood. Like, so you can get pissed, really pissed in the evening, and that's why there's this like your body has a store of carbohydrates, and when this storage of sugar gets low, it takes the sugar from the liver, and the sugar from the liver is actually for your brain. And then you have these cravings and you want to eat something that has a lot of sugar. What do most people do? They just get something sweet. But what happens? You have a spike in blood sugar levels, and if you have a spike, that what went up, it will go down too, and this is your baseline. So then you're hungry again because you take sugar from your liver again. Then you're tired, and then this goes up and down, and it's a very stressful thing for your body. So having like carbohydrates that are like that actually last for the whole day, and having a good breakfast where you cover that, will help you a lot to actually improve your performance during the day. So this is a very important thing, because it's not always what your body tells you that is right, and I eat like what my body tells me. It's not like that. Yeah, you need to have the experience, and you need to know, and you need to be able to make these connections to understand what's really good for you. Yeah.
I think there are so many important points that you're already bringing up. And I think the interesting part about the TCG community is that we have like a plethora of videos and content out there that covers like how to play the best cards, how to find the best strategy, how to prepare for the meta. But we don't really have resources on like how to prepare ourselves, our body, our mind, not only before a tournament, but then also what you were talking about during a tournament, preparing for that crucial day. Also, especially for the players that want to make day 2 or even going to the top 8, because as you said, your energy levels will be drowned. And then in the end, it comes down to the player who has the most energy left and who has the most concentration, who has the less stress on them. And so these points that you're talking about, I think, are so important and so valuable for those players out there who don't really know those things yet, or have only scratched on the surface. And I know, talking to a lot of the pros out there, that the pros that are really wanting to take this games seriously, that at some point they also dive into these things, not really in the TCG sphere, but then in the sports sphere or somewhere else. And that's also where I got some of the information that you already talked about, like the electrolytes or how to get the nutrition right, because I also wanted to compete in sports. I also am training for a triathlon. And so these things are just the basic knowledge that you need to be prepared for those kinds of sports. And I found it very interesting in the beginning, even as you talked about the comparison between the Pro Tour and the Ironman, that for like certain points, the Pro Tour can be more challenging than the Ironman, but we really don't have the resources yet fully to dive into the health aspects of being a Pro Tour champion, for example. So I found it really, really interesting what you are talking about, and I think a lot of the viewers are also on that point.
I think they're already like they get used to like playing a lot, you know. So that's one of the things, like they're used to play a lot. So it's like they get through that, and probably they would have even better results if they would take care of this. And I don't know if that's a thing, but like as in other sports, I mean, performance enhancing drugs, they use them in other sports. I can imagine there's some players that actually do that too in card games, like, and they actually really thought about these things, like, because I mean, if it's their job, like, probably some of them go through this, but I think um, in general, yeah, you can do so much more if you just take care of your body and mind, and you, as you said, mind too, like trying to, like, sometimes for me it's very hard to like calm down prior to a big tournament. So like even that, like meditation or other things can really help to calm yourself down and actually um, be more focused on a certain day. Yeah.
Yeah, the big days, I think, when I think about the points that you brought up, like how you can tackle those challenges, uh, some of them are really like simple, right? Small steps and simple things that someone can take to really enhance, not only their performance, but their overall health as well. And so what would you say are like the first like three small things that you would change if you wouldn't have them changed already?
Like the thing is, like the most important aspect of this is like habits. I often say, like, tell my clients, going to the gym is the same thing as brushing your teeth in the evening. Like it's something that not like most of those people don't enjoy, but they have to do it. And they will do it every evening because otherwise they will have the consequences. And the same thing goes for gym or just doing sports in general. Like if you don't use your body, you will have consequences. There's like they say use it or lose it. You get older, and as long as you use something, your brain, your legs, whatever, you will keep that. Like you will keep the ability to do that for your whole life. But if you stop doing it, at some point, you can't do it anymore. For example, with old people, sometimes they just can't stand up anymore. Like they can't just stand up from the floor anymore, and that's a very bad sign because it's a good correlation between that and mortality. Because like when you can't do like basic stuff on your own anymore, it can be that you hit yourself, hit your head, fall on the ground. You can't stand up anymore. You just lie there, and so it's like this is a little exaggerated, but I'm just trying to make a point here that it's very important to take in consideration what you're doing daily, because those are your habits, and if you do it daily, you continue doing it. So one of the first thing I always tell my clients or ask my clients is if they drink stuff that has sugar in it. So like just by cutting that, you already reduce your calories by a lot, and that's a very big thing that you should look into. The second thing is you don't like the second thing I would recommend is like just do sports. It doesn't matter what you're gonna do. Just do something like at least twice, better 3 times a week. What you do is like up to you. Maybe that's uh, a good way to actually get even more into sports or more into health, etc. And the third thing is, I mean, a lot of times you don't realize that something is missing. You are always tired. You're always something is wrong with you. Sometimes just having a checkup and see if your blood, like if you're how you're feeling or how your blood looks like, or if you have a, if you lack vitamin D, especially with girls, is vitamin B12, or iron. This has such a big impact on you. And I think if you have these unhealthy lifestyles, often there is something that you can just supplement or that you could change in your life that would make your life so many times better without you even knowing. So it's like uh, a lot of people just live into the day and don't really have such a good connection to themselves and to their body. And I think like by even just taking a little more time to and spend more time on nutrition as like my first tip is very beneficial for them and would give them way more time, a longer life, a happier life, and way more time during the day, and way more and the way less, like a lot of like stress uh, would like go away and give them uh, way more pleasure. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think really taking that first step can be like so big for us when we haven't really taken it yet, that only like even talking about it may help to overcome it. And I remember those times myself, like when I was really doing sports, I wasn't really checking on my nutrition and what I was eating or drinking, as you were saying. And one thing that I always see is like players taking like 5 energy drinks with them on the tournaments. And you already talked about the bad side of that. But like when someone, for example, wants to change out the energy drinks, like what would you recommend instead bringing?
The thing is, like, uh, for caffeine, there's like you get addicted to it, and it's like you the if you go over a certain threshold, you need way more of it. I I reduce myself, like if you have 200 to 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, it's fine. Like if you go over it, it's bad for for your heart. Like that's something. If you continue go over that, the chances of a heart attack is gonna increase. Like so, and the problem is like it is at a certain point, it's more a stress for your body than you helping you focus. So if you're not eating correctly, or if you have a lack of something, if you're not supplementing correctly, if you don't have enough electrolytes or fluids, then like this is just then you lack the base and the basics. And if you lack the basics, you have to rely on some other stuff. And I mean, caffeine is kind of performance enhancing. So I think it's very important to just have a good base, and then having the help like having caffeine or something like that will help you to focus more, because you can focus better if you have the right amount of caffeine. But like, don't overdo one thing. Just try to be like, just try to cover all the aspects without exaggerating in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found it also very interesting what you were bringing up, that maybe even we have TCG players out there who are over enhancing their nutrition.
Yeah.
I remember really when I got into triathlon and riding the bike, reading a lot about the days on Tour de France, for example, Jan Ulrich,
Yeah.
very famous from Germany. And so it's so interesting, that idea that you are bringing up. I haven't really thought about it yet. That we maybe even having TCG athletes, so to say, out there who
Yeah.
are using that. But let's come to something that like a lot of viewers out there can take with them. And I think like when building a fitness routine, as you talking about it, like when someone is new to that, like how can they even just start to build that fitness routine?
So basically, you need a gym where they have an introduction, where they actually help you to, um, they show you the exercises and what you can start with. Normally, uh, yeah, you just need an introduction into the gym and what exercises is good for you. Normally, they give you something very basic. You don't need more, because your body, as soon as you do something that you've never done before, your body adapts anyway. And then from there, you can go on and just build from there. The first thing is just to like overcome this fear of being there. And a lot of people think, oh no, they're gonna look at me and I'm gonna do everything wrong. Most people don't care. You're just in a gym and doing your own thing. Like, people that are in the gym for a long time go to the gym for themselves, and they just do it because they like it. Maybe they like a little bit the social aspect. So it's just overcoming the first step, as you said, and going to a place where you actually have somebody who tells you what to do. And if you have this, like, it gets way easier, because if you know what you have to do, you can just go through it, and then it's just up to you. Then you just need consistency, and motivation is what gets you in the gym, and discipline is what keeps you in the gym. So you will have times where you don't want to go, but you just go because it's like brushing your teeth. You just do it because it's good for you. And almost every time, I say 99% of the times, that you go into the gym and do the hard thing, afterwards you're going to feel better, because you did something for you. It wasn't instant gratification. It's something that is for you for the future, but still you're going to feel good because you had the endorphins in your body. And it's just a very good feeling to have, like, because your body needs it, and you will start feeling that your body needs it if you do it consistently and you just keep going. Yeah.
And when starting that journey onto for a healthier life and maybe even more performance in the TCG world, um, like what would you imagine? Like, for example, I know that Brody Spurlock talks about this. At some point, he discovered tennis, for example, for him, that he just likes to do on the side and to be active and get some more fitness in. So you talked about like that not everyone just needs a strict like gym bro plan, for example, as they are called. So there are also like other ways to get some movement in. And what would you say are like maybe other good movements that you could do when you don't want to go to the gym?
Like, um, in general, starting with something that you just like is the best thing, because then you're motivated to do it. Like, you do it because it's fun and it helps you. Um, and then you can go deeper and you can delve deeper into into these things, like, because normally when you do sports, you normally delve deeper into sports if you're interested. But just by actually moving your body like 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, you will have such a big benefit. So I always say, just do something. It's just like just do it. Like that's why it's so powerful, because you just have to do it, and you have to start somewhere. Normally, when you start somewhere, there's a whole process starting. So you start with something. Every time somebody doesn't feel well, every time somebody has depression, every time you need to come out of a hole or something, you just have to start somewhere. And if you start, everything gets easier. And by repetition and doing this stuff, everything gets easier. And if you repeat something constantly enough, it becomes a habit. So I wouldn't say there is like special things that you should do. There's worse stuff, like squash is not good. If we talk about health risks, you shouldn't play squash. You shouldn't play soccer, football either, because like most of the time you just injure yourself, especially if you didn't play for a long time. So like, yeah, obviously there's better and worse stuff. Like swimming is probably better than playing squash, but in general, as long as you like it, if just doing anything is always better than just being at home and not doing it. Just starting this journey is better than just sticking to your sedentary lifestyle. Yeah.
I think like also the aspects of like not only getting into movement, as you are saying it, like just starting it is so important, but then also finding the balance, right? Because when I look at like those players that are taking Flesh and Blood or One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, whatever TCG are playing out there very seriously, those players are playing on a regular basis, right? They are playing like nearly every day, many hours researching online. They are maybe on a pro team, talking to their friends. So the TCG life and getting to know the game, the different cards is just inherent to them. But how can someone like that find a balance in like, yeah, getting some of those more healthier routines in and then still sticking to their TCG routine?
Um, the easiest way to put this is, and like to motivate these people to do something, is like that if you will do something like for your fitness, you will be better at your game, and you will be able to play it for a longer time, enjoy it for a longer time, and enjoy the experience more. So like you won't lose time playing, but you will gain time playing it because you're just healthier, and you will have a better experience at playing it. So this is a very good motivation to do this, like, because it will just benefit you in every aspect of life. I have a lot of clients of mine. They came and they were like, "I'm so stressed. I don't have time to work out." Just like they always tell me, "No, I can't do this, that." And the clients that actually go through it and actually do their 3, 4 times a week always tell me when they had a pause after, they said, I was feeling so much better when I was doing it, and I had so much time and had so much more energy, and I was sleeping better. But they still sometimes just get off that path because life is stressful. There's a lot of things that can happen in life, and you like good habits, you lose them so fast. Especially if when you go on a holiday or something like that, they come back and they don't get back into this habit. Um, in the end, it's just like forming this habit, and you will, if you form this habit and you keep it, you will benefit from it in the aspects of life you love. So, yeah.
I think like this crucial part that you are mentioned was to the part of like traveling and holidays or vacation, as you mentioned it. But for a TCG player, it would be like traveling to a tournament.
Yeah.
And I noticed this challenge too. Like I remember flying over to New York for the Pro Tour, for the first Pro Tour in 2022. And we were there for such a long time. And during that period, I got out 2 times actually to like a fitness park, and I could train there. It was really nice. But besides that, I didn't really take the time to do anything, and was so difficult to come back after we flew to Germany. And so it took a lot of time for me to get back to training, get back to healthy nutrition even. Because it was so difficult to find like fast ways to get good nutrition on the way, but then also being at the tournament. So what would you say? Do you have like a trick or something that people can just remember when they are coming back from their next tournament and they want to get back into their fitness routine?
So there's a good book about habits. It's called Atomic Habits. I think it's called Atomic Habits. The 1% method. It's in German. It's like translated like that. It's a chapter in the book. And they talk about this. Like it's very hard to keep habits. Like it takes like 66 days or something like that to form a habit, and it can take you 1 week to lose it. So you need cues to actually keep the habits going. So for me, it's not that big of a problem. But I did a pause a couple, like 2 months ago, and it was my first pause of training. Did a pause for 1.5, 2 months. I was sick in between because there's so much going around right now. And I took this pause, but for me, it's not that big of a problem because when I travel, I want to go to the gym, and I take like when I travel and I can't go to the gym, for me it's just a pause. Like for me, it's like the pause I take from working out, because you need pauses from working out too. Like just like during a week where you do a little less or something like that, because it's straining on your body, and you have like you have an overall fatigue that is increasing. At some point you need, it's like with the stress, like when you have this high stress levels, you need to calm down again, etc. Like you just need the pauses sometimes. But in regards to your question, it's like you need to set the time, the prepare, even maybe just even prepare the your workout stuff already before you go on your holiday, so that when you come back you already have a cue again that sits, like you can even put it in the entrance, because if you help yourself with cues, you get back into habits way faster. So if you prepare yourself for that, it's you get back to it way faster. And the biggest problem is when you go on holiday is that I had like a client, and he went on holiday. Instead of him improving in regeneration and stress level, he went down. People always think, oh yeah, I'm going on holiday and I will feel better after. But they have way worse habits in holiday than they have at home. They drink, they don't eat properly, or they eat too much and too much fat and too much carbs, and then they get an ice cream here and this and that, and they need to eat fast food, and they don't work out. They lose themselves a little bit, and then they come back and their body and their mind is even more stressed than before. And then they suddenly feel like after 2 weeks again, I need to go on holiday again, because because it wasn't a holiday. For me, a holiday, if I'm not like going somewhere to like explore something or see something, needs always a hotel or a place where I can work out. If I do a flesh and blood tournament, obviously I don't have the time to work out too, because it's already very straining. And like for some of those pros, this different card games is very hard. Like you go from one place to another, and for them to keep up with something like that is something very hard. But yeah, it's just about I think like if you don't overdo it too much in your holidays and you still keep a little bit of this healthy mindset, it helps a lot to get back into routine when you come back.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that really. Having a starting point, so to say, right? So you're a little bit
Yeah,
prepared, and you can even have a flesh and blood comparison here, right? Because starting point is actually a flesh and blood card. And so everyone can remember it pretty easily. And actually, that's something I got to use to too. Now, when I think about it, just what helped me getting into the gym, actually, what you were saying is that just preparing the stuff that I need for the gym.
exactly.
I even got a bag, just a
Mhm.
specific bag where I have my gym stuff in,
Yeah,
and I have it prepared always. Just like I think people prepare their deck lists before, right? They know like what direction they want to take. They know if they want to play Jarl or they want to play Fi, Syndra, whatever. And maybe they have like two things, two decks that they are eyeing on. But that's a preparation that they are taking. And I think a little step goes a long way when you can also prepare something else that helps you on your health as well. Um, I think I want to touch on a specific part that's called fatigue, right? And you mentioned it a few times already. And I think especially for Flesh and Blood players out there, that's a big thing because Flesh and Blood games can be so long. And especially if you get as good as going to finals, as we saw at the World Championship in the last year as well, games can be so long and so devastating on your mind as well. Is there something that you are thinking about when also playing a deck like Jarl, that you had endless games, something that helped you to stay focused during those long games?
actually, for me, the closer I get to the goal, the better I can focus. So for me, it's just because if you do something that you like, especially for me, then I can focus better. And some people perform worse under pressure and other perform better. Like I normally perform better under pressure. If it's something that is not worth anything to me, I just don't play as well as like, and I can focus less. And I think just preparing as well as I can, just giving my body what my body needs. Um, yeah, and even like what helped me a lot, like even my friends cheering for me or something like that, that soothes your like nervous system, and or them like they went and grabbed some stuff for me because I went into top eight, and I was like, "What do you need? What can we do so that like in order for you to feel better?" So they grabbed me a mate and the ginger shot, and I was like, so like these things help a lot. I think like
Yeah.
if you have like a good community around you, friends that support you, and um, like have a good time and a good feeling doing this stuff, and you actually give your body the ability to go through this whole process, you will have a lot more success than like I mean everybody knows how negativity and negative things can impact your performance. So I think it's like a psychological part, and and then there's like the part where you just yeah, you just give your body the nutrients it needs. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a saying, right? That the five people that you are surrounding yourself with is like the outcome that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you are, yeah, viewing it from a TCG standpoint, maybe you have a group of friends
Yeah.
or even are on a pro team, then maybe bring up the topic of like enhancing, yeah, the health, the overall routines that you are working on, not only on a deck side or on a playstyle side, but maybe about some of the things that we already talked about. But I I want to ask you, like, when 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 someone is like recovering from these like fatiguing tournaments and yeah, stressful travel times, like is there like something that you specifically do when you come home that someone can think about, or is there a specific like starting point that you would say is something good to do just when you come home?
For everybody, like there is things like that. Everybody has their go-to thing. I like not everybody, but there is go-to things you have that actually calm down your nervous system. Can be your girlfriend, like you just hang out with your girlfriend, and you fall asleep directly. Like it will regenerate. Like you will regenerate very fast. It can be, for me, one of the things that always helps is I watch StarCraft 2 games. It was like with commentary, and I just watch that and I fall asleep. Like everybody else would be like, "What is so?" But I know the game is like it's like for me, it's just like it calms me down. Or some people like to go to the sauna, or some people like to go for a run, like, or some people just I don't know, like a game they play, or music, or an audiobook. You just need something that actually lets you disconnect a little bit from that thing and just helps you just calm down and relieve stress. It helps a lot to just go for a walk, because going for a walk is regenerative cardio, and it just flushes out all the toxins from your body that you may have produced during this hard tournaments. It's a good thing to do even after, if you have like if you qualify for top for day two, like going for a walk, going alone for a walk. So it always helps because you get some fresh air, you walk, you get some cardio in, and yeah, it just helps you regenerate. And just do the stuff that you like. Yeah, that's what I would recommend. And one thing that I've been doing is just to take a little, like, some time to reevaluate what happened during the tournament, and what and what would I change about my deck? What would I change about how this event went? And how yeah, what little changes would I make to have a better experience the next time? Especially when it comes when in regards of deck building. I know that if I don't do it after the tournament, I lose a lot of insights I had during the tournament. It's even good
Mm.
to write them down during the games, because in these tournaments you learn way more than you just when you just play casually or online or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love your way of doing it there. Also coming back to that, like complementing hobbies, right? Doing like the mind crushing with the TCGs, and and then the movement on the other hand here. But I also think about just like right now. I was working the whole day. Now we're doing this podcast, and afterwards, yeah, I'm going for a little ride outside and going to the gym.
Yeah.
And I think what you are saying makes so much sense. And also thinking about the last time that we saw each other in Prague, actually, for me it was something like just as small as driving back with the train and seeing like Berlin, for example. It was just so refreshing for me. Then going outside at the Berlin train station, getting some fresh air. The sun was out, and I think everyone can find just these small things when coming back from a tournament for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's yeah. I think like when we met, weren't we both eating something? I don't remember.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was like, we're eating. I was like, yeah, yeah. That's like, yeah, there's like, yeah, just having like something in between rounds and stuff and snacking. Just, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like the little things. I like little things like that actually help a lot. Like being happy about the little things, being even happy about your finishes, even if it's not the best, there is just one winner. I mean, if there is 1,000 players, there will just be one winner, and in the end, it's the experience that you take with you and how you see the things. Like you can see it positive or you can see it negative, and I think having this positive attitude and seeing and getting out what you can. I mean, when you lose, it's always a chance to improve. Like it's like this. I think negative things actually make us grow. So, and when you see it from that standpoint, it's way less stressing. And I think stress is a very big factor in how well we live your lives. And yeah, and it's a big factor that you can actually, by actually moving and going to the gym, etc., you relieve stress. That's why, yeah, it's what you will be doing this evening. Like you did your work and you're gonna go to the gym and have a little, if you go alone, you have a little time for yourself and just focus on yourself and just give something back to yourself and just calm down and have some yeah, a good training. And afterwards you're gonna be tired, maybe eat something, go to bed, and yeah, it's just you need your body to work. So af during the day, not only mentally but physically too.
I think like we talked about the battle hunt in the beginning, right?
Yes.
And just to make this very clear for everyone listening, like tell us like the time that you started to play Flesh and Blood. You talked about it, but I
Yes.
think like just thinking back about it, it's not that long for sure. But it's so amazing that you like found your way back into the TCG with like discovering Flesh and Blood at Spiel
Hmm.
and then also going to the battle hardened, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I started in Oct first beginning of October, and I think it was end of November. I was still there was like actually the weekend when I stopped working for as a fitness trainer, and I just went full personal training. And yeah, I had like 2 weeks to prepare for the tournament with Jarl because Jarl just came out. And yeah, I just played games, thought about the deck, went through this process, and it was very good for me. I'm still learning so much about Jarl. It's very interesting. And then I'm adapting and trying to find new ways to beat different decks. And I'm like, and I get these tips from people, and then I try it out, and then it doesn't work, and then I'm like, maybe I should give it another shot, and then I try it again, and I'm like, ah, okay, it works like that. And I watch a match there, and then it's like, then I have these moments of, oh, uh, I could do it like this. Ah, that's such a good idea. Yeah, it's just I like that. I need this brain, like yeah. And I mean, I've played a lot of Magic for like 3 years. Like I was playing really, like I was playing 3 tournaments every weekend, or maybe even 4. Like Friday evening, Friday night Magic. Then we had one in the afternoon. Then we had one in the evening and one on Sunday. And I went to like I don't know 7 GPs, made 4-day twos, something like that.
Mm.
And qualifies for Italian nationals twice or 3 times. Actually, once, but like you had to qualify through shops,
Hmm.
and we had 3 shops in my region, and I actually went first on like we had like uh, every weekend one tournament, and was like 20 tournaments per shop, and I was first in every in every shop, and I won every top 8. Like one year, I was like grinding so hard. Yeah, it's like yeah. I when sometimes I go overboard. That's why like having this like right now with Fashion Bots, it's way easier because there's no online, no real online platform where you have a ranking and everything. So when you play online, it's just to test out stuff, and I really like the fact that it's like a game to be played in flesh and blood. So so um, so that aspect helping a lot to just have like to keep this under control and just being seen as a hobby and not as an addiction. And addiction, yeah, there is a lot of like fitness can be an addiction or the car. Yeah, I mean these addictions are always bad, and I really like that this has not become like one of these big addictions, but something that I really enjoy and that I always
Mm.
like to do. And yeah.
So for this year, like, what are the tournaments that you are looking at to travel to, maybe even?
I will go to well, we have another Road to Nationals in
Mhm.
Winterthur, which I will do. I did one week ago, something like that. I went 3-1-1, ninth, just barely didn't make top eight. But it's fine. It's like and then I will play in Winterthur, and after that I will go to Dublin, Battle Hard in Dublin, and I will go to London for the calling because I have no PTI yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where are you going?
I'm not planning on going to a bigger tournament yet because like Prague was like the budget that I set for myself for the first quarter of the year. But I want to go to nationals in Germany, depending on where it is. If it's not too far, because like Germany, if it's really in the south or very far in the north, then maybe I'm not going. That's like a pretty long ride for me.
Hmm.
But I'm hoping to get to another calling, yeah, in the later half of the year.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
I think though, like the Prague experience was perfect. Like it was such an amazing tournament and such an amazing experience overall. Not only at yeah, going to a beautiful city like Prague, but then also experiencing the set for the first time. And I view myself more of a limited player these days, so I really love the tournament. And I love the fact too that we have like limited callings in Flesh and Blood, for example. So I'm looking towards that one maybe. But I think overall, you said it yourself as well that the Flesh and Blood community is just so inviting,
Yes.
so friendly, and that makes me come back again and again.
Yeah. It's really nice. I have to say, like I didn't expect it. Like I didn't expect it. Really not. Um, yeah. Was what Prague was super nice experience, especially display the game, see the world aspect of the game is very nice, and especially if you can stay with your friends and have a good time, and we had a really good time. Yeah, it's really it's really cool. I enjoyed it a lot. So I'm looking forward to. We're going to Dublin. We're three people, like four.
Hmm.
One is going with the girlfriend, but we're three people, and then we go from Dublin to London.
Yes.
So because it's one weekend, and so we're gonna spend 4 days in Dublin and just checking out Dublin in between, and then it's Pro Tour. So yeah, there's a couple of our players that are qualified for Pro Tour. So
Yeah.
our community is small, but we have a couple of really good players because
Yeah.
Switzerland is not that big. But yeah, and afterwards I will go to nationals too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, the interesting thing for me now is like that you also played Magic for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And coming to Flesh and Blood, like, is it like a renaissance for you playing Flesh and Blood when you are thinking back about the Magic days, the early days, or like what did draw yourself to Flesh and Blood? Is it like the tournament scene?
No, it's the game itself. Like I don't like the variants from that Magic has. It's so much bigger than in Flesh and Blood. The skill ceiling is way higher in Flesh and Blood, I think. As Simon said, we just scratched the surface on in Flesh and Blood because like yeah, that this is like it's so much. It has so much depth, and you learn something new every time you play it. It's like it's just such an interesting game, and I just like the fact that you often go through your whole deck. So every card matters, every decision matters. The cards you draw, and that you have that is a puzzle every turn. What you're gonna do, And yeah, it's just like I just like how the game feels, and that if I play badly, it has a big impact. And in Magic, sometimes it just felt like I was doing everything right, and was I was doing so well, and then one thing could happen and that I couldn't control, and I would just lose. I mean, there has like the pro players are always like a lot of pro players, the same ones are winning. So, but for me, it wasn't just you just like I didn't like the situations where where I felt like it wasn't in my power how this game went. And in Fashion Blood, when I do something wrong and I realize it, I'm not mad at myself. I'm like, oh shit, I did that wrong. Next time I could do it like this. What would have changed? It's like it's way like way more chill with the game in general. Like yeah, and the community is different from
Yeah.
what I have experienced. Yeah.
Coming to the community here, we have actually a question from the community on my channel for you, and I want to read it out. And I'm very specifically interested in it as well, because it comes back to the beginning question that we had comparing TCGs to an Ironman. So it starts with, really love this guest. As someone whose background is sports psychology, how similar is training for Flesh and Blood to training for a big sports tournament? And in what ways can I look to professional athletes to learn how to prepare for an event?
Um, like you it's very similar. Like the first thing you do is like a preparation phase. You know, like you prepare. You kind of you need to know what hero you're gonna play. You know, you're gonna prepare for a tournament. You need to know what hero you're gonna play, and then you try to figure out what a meta is gonna look like, and then you try to figure out, okay, what do I want to play, or what are the options, and what would be the most fun for me to play, or what is the most competitive. Depends on how you want to look at it. And then you take this deck, and then you actually to try to match up against these different decks that you think are the ones that are the most dominant in the meta, and you try to have the best win rate as possible. And then you try to, when you have the deck, you try to take out cards, put in cards, and try to find out how to play against it. Then a part that is very important that told me that a friend of mine just recently told me that I have to do more is like actually playing the game in real life more, and just getting out the reps in real life to actually not make mistakes that you might not make online when you have the deck fixed. So, and after this preparation part, you're going to have the tournament, which is actually when you're going to play the deck. And after that, as I told you, you have the aftermath. And in this aftermath, you need to recover. Like, first of all, take notes and see what could have gone better, what could have gone worse, what would you change, and then just recover. And that's actually how you prepare for any sports event in general. So yeah, that's like it's very similar. Like you can, it's like if you take it from this perspective, it's very similar to sports in general. Yeah, that's how I would like. It's the same. You have a plan, you follow the plan. Like if you prepare for a sports event, you follow the plan. You do your trainings. You try to improve. You prepare everything that you know what the improvements you want to take on are. If it doesn't work the correct way, you just do other. Maybe you need more technique, then you do more technique, etc. Like it's very similar to preparing for any big sports event. Yeah, yeah.
I think like an interesting point here that comes into that question too is like how much preparation time you really have, because I
Yes.
know some players have really like small preparation time for even the World Championship and make some significant results, which I think like when you come back to the comparison to an Ironman, for example, I think it's like not really that easy to only prepare like for 3 weeks for an Ironman and then do the whole
That's not
challenge.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not.
But I
That's not.
think like
That's
for,
not the same. Like
yeah,
I think like looking at. Uh, I think. I think it's like it's a different type of skill set you need, and a different type of like it's completely it's like it's just, you can't, in regards of that, it's very hard to compare this, and it's actually a hard question to answer. I think it's like, I think for me, I can't really tell what I can't really tell you what would be easier for me. Pro Tour.
yeah,
I mean, in card games there is luck involved, so you know. And when you just want to do an Ironman and just go through it, yeah, it's hard, but if you're fit, you can do it. Like I think it's something that everybody can do if they put themselves into it. I don't think that everybody can get to the Pro Tour. Like that's like, I think it's just a different skill set, and I think like putting yourself through something physically is something that you just need discipline to do. And to win a Pro Tour, you need to be you need to be smart. You need to be like, you need to be somebody that understands games and comes from a background. So you can't just never have played games, and but you can actually never have done sports and then and then do it right. Like and
yeah.
prepare for that, and if you have enough time, you will do it. So that's why I say probably it's harder to get to a Pro Tour.
Are there any like athletes that you are following?
Following in, you mean sports wise?
Yeah, that's right.
That I'm following as a personal trainer, or that I'm following in, you mean like that I like?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That you're liking, not only for like personal trainer reasons, but just like athletes that you may be looking up to or that inspire yourself.
That's actually pretty funny. If you ask me what person I would like to meet, I would say Arnold Schwarzenegger. Just because he achieved so much in different fields. Just because of that, like it's and where he came from. So this is very interesting because like, I mean, to be a to come from nothing, becoming a 8-time Mr. Olympia,
I'm
then
not sure.
yeah, I think 8-time Mr. Olympia, then going into Hollywood, being successful at that, and then being a governor, and now he has a lot of influence on a lot of people and is doing a lot of good stuff still for a lot of people. I mean, that's pretty, and I think that's like something like like that's like a mindset that is very interesting, like, or a mind that is very interesting. Yeah.
And I think like we haven't touched on it yet, but if someone wants to look yourself up, you said you are not really on socials that big, but if someone, yeah, listening to this pod wants to reach out to you, where can someone reach out?
Yeah, I have a website. It's not fully finished yet, but it's xnnfit.com. xnnfit.com. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, you you should be able to find contact there.
Yeah, we'll for sure link it in the description. So for anyone who is interested in it. And yeah, is there anything that you want to touch on here in the end? Is there a TCG athlete that you want to shout out, or that you are specifically interested to meet at future events?
No, I actually met Hawk in Prague because he was like sitting next to me when we were deck building. Hawk from Cobra Kai, you know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's funny. It was
that's
like,
nice.
well, what a coincidence.
Yeah.
And that was funny. But no, not in general. I find like I like to watch the live broadcasts of the tournaments, and there's a lot of very good players around, and it's very interesting to see how they perform. But I'm not like I'm in general like there's not like really a person that I'm looking up to, and I was like thinking about that a lot because there's a lot of people that have like this role models, etc. And the only person that comes to mind to me was Arnold Schwarzenegger, but otherwise no, because it was always a little good inspiration for me, and I was like as a child I liked his movies, etc. So I think it's just my generation, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah,
All right, perfect. I really have to say I enjoyed this podcast so much. I
yeah,
got so
me
much
too.
out for myself, but also I hope so many of you listening to this get something for you for your next TCG tournament, maybe even for your next day or your next week. Starting to training, eating something different, just doing something for your health. And yeah, I would also love to hear your comments on YouTube. I think you yourself will read through them as well
Yeah,
if there are
sure.
some.
If you have any
And
question, you can just ask. I will answer. Yeah.
perfect, yeah. And also, I'm looking forward to the next tournament. Actually, I'm not sure which one we will meet at, but I'm sure we will meet
Yeah,
again in the
somewhere,
future.
yeah. I'm looking forward to. It was really nice to meet you, Alex.
Thank you so much for taking the time,
Yeah,
and
you too. It was super nice.